Hello, you lovely lot. Wow, this is a really weird angle. I've not done one like this with this little square instead of the usual rectangle. Give me some feedback on this. What do you think? Do we like this? Do we not? Do you want me to go back to this or to this? I don't even know. We're going to go with this for today anyway, and I can hope that you can hear me over the very loud two-section hell music in the background. But hello from Portman Road. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good night, wherever you are watching in the world. But here we are on a pretty mild evening in Suffolk for what is a pretty big game of football in the Championship. Ipswich Town and Hull City, 4th and 5th, going head-to-head. And this is one of those games in hand for Ipswich. They have two. This one was moved because of the FA Cup, with both teams, I believe, going through in the Cup and then subsequently playing on that Friday night, both at the same time, and both getting dumped out. Hull by Chelsea at home and Town in that 1-0 defeat at Wrexham. The other game in hand, of course, for Ipswich Town is at Pompey. We still don't know when that's going to be played. There's not too many opportunities, not too many midweek slots for it to be played. So here we go with this one tonight. Hull City, the visitors, and they come into this one off the back of two wins. And the most recent one at Pompey, that 1-0. But they only had two shots in the game. They had one shot in the first minute. They had one shot in the second half of the game where they scored, and that was it. 1-0. Pompey had 22, I believe, shots in that match and couldn't find the back of the net. It's a whole team that have shown a lot of different sides to their game as well. We've seen the attacking, open, end-to-end play. We've seen 4-goal, 4-3, 4-2 wins. They had some similarities to the way the Ipswich played in that 23-24 season in some of their games. But they've also been a team that has sat back and defended and been able to grind out wins like they did over the weekend. And I think that is going to be their approach tonight, looking at the way that they have lined up for this game. Let's start off with the Ipswich Town team. Almost half of the starting lineup changed from that win against Swansea City over the weekend. See, a fairly similar core group again. You know that Christian Walton, Darnell Furlong, Dara O'Shea, Cedric Kiprate and Azul Matasiwa are almost nailed on to be playing every single game that they are picked and available for Ipswich Town. But things have been chopped and changed around them, and we've seen that tonight for sure. All of the players who come out and drop to the bench, so there's no real injury concerns, there's no questions to Kieran McKenna about knocks or anything like that after the game. That is a big positive. But some surprises for sure. Jacob Greaves comes into the team against his former club, against his former club here. He starts at left back. It's the first time that Leif Davis has not started the game at left back in the league at Portman Road this season, he says, hoping that stat is right. But Leif Davis has been obviously the main man at left back. He did have a knock that he picked up in the Wrexham League game. That saw him... the Wrexham League game? No, it was the Wrexham League game, I think it was. He ended up with that knock. We spoke to Leif Davis for a couple of league games in a row, so it kind of threw me there. But yes, he had that limp. He was limping a little bit from that match, and that saw him miss the Watford game in midweek, where Jacob Greaves started, got an assist in that match. But Davis returned over the weekend, played a really big part in that game. But he's out of the team here today. I think it's just going to be a case of managing his fitness and his minutes. And look, ultimately, Jacob Greaves has done well in those left-back starts he had, apart from Sheffield United. Will it work here today? Hopefully, it'll be more like Coventry and more like Watford than it was like Sheffield United. From there, I'm going to move this back so you can see all of it here. There we go. More changes into the team. Matasiwa stays, but his new partner is Jack Taylor. Not a huge surprise. Dan Neal looked pretty worn out towards the end of that game against Swansea over the weekend. Have to manage his fitness as well. He's been building up after hardly playing at all in the first half of the season at Sunderland. Incredible quality that he has got, but they have to be careful with how they manage that one. I'm sure we'll see him off the bench today, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him back in the starting lineup against Leicester City over the weekend. But for this one, it's Jack Taylor, Jens Euster also on the bench. Cinderella Igeli, one of 3 changes to the front line. Wes Burns drops to the bench as well. Nunez, the only one of those 4 to keep his place in the middle. Jack Clark comes back in, and that does surprise me a little bit because of how good Anis Mehmeti was on the left. I thought that Mehmeti would be the likely starter, to have him linking up with Davis, but both of those two onto the bench, a bit of rotation. Good to keep players fresh, isn't it? Let's be honest. So, Jack Clark is more than a suitable option to come in on the left side for Ipswich Town, and then George Hurst comes in to lead the line. It's 5 changes, and that can be a little bit jarring to look at, almost. There have been some comments here from Tiny Sales. Why can't we just stick with the starting 11 that wins us games? Rotation for the sake of rotation will cost us promotion. And I can definitely get that feeling, and especially when it's almost half the team that's changed, it feels quite heavy, doesn't it? It feels quite significant off the back of 2 pretty excellent performances that Ipswich have had. You can't keep playing the same players, though. I think it is a fair comment, because people are going to be knackered. You looked at Dan Neil was pretty tired. Leif Davis has been nursing a knock. Azon, I thought, ran himself into the ground. There are some changes that I wouldn't have made. I would have probably tried to have kept Anis Mehmeti in the team, given his form. And Davis, again, I don't know the whole picture with what his fitness situation is, but would be someone that I'd want to start in every single home match for sure, if possible. But it's still a good and strong enough squad to be going out there and winning championship games. You've taken Davis out and brought in a defender who cost £15 million and has delivered at left back this season. You've taken Neil out and brought in Jack Taylor, who's delivered for Ipswich Town this season. You've taken Anis Mehmeti out and brought in one of the top scorers in the division to play at left wing. You've got the record signing in the championship, who's playing at right wing for Wes Burns tonight, and George Hurst, who scored 2 in his last 2 games, leading the line. So all of those things considered, I know that the chemistry side of things and stuff like that, it can be quite tricky, but I'm not too thrown off by the team. But look, we'll have to see how that goes after the game. We're going to do some more comments after we've had a little look through the Hull City team. So let's have a look at that. Hull City, I've got this down as a 5-2-2-1. You can put it as a 3, you can put it as a 5, you can do whatever you want. But either way, there's 3 centre-backs in this team. And I'm sure that Sergej Jakirovic has done exactly what Ed Still did, which is look at what Ipswich has struggled with this season, try and work towards that. And that is teams that might soak up a little bit of possession, but have those 3 centre-backs who operate in a low block and will try and get the ball forward quickly. That is what I think Hull are going to do here. In goal, Panda keeps his place. The full-backs or wing-backs in this system are both right-backs naturally, but we think it's going to be Louis Coyle, the captain, who's going to go onto the left with Cody Drame, the former Leeds man, on the right. In the heart of defence, you've got John Egan, who was linked, oddly, to Ipswich in January. That was honestly something I'd totally forgotten about until yesterday afternoon, and then remembered that was a thing. Odd, don't really think there was much interest actually from Ipswich's side, but he was linked. On either side of him, we'll have Paddy McNair, championship expert, have been out at San Diego, I believe, in MLS. And on the left is Charlie Hughes, formerly of Wigan Athletic, who's been really impressive in that role. A right-footed, but often left-sided centre-back, young player who I think is being touted for having quite a big future. Into midfield, Slater keeps his place. Hadzi Medvedevic, wow, that's a mouthful. Hadzi Medvedevic drops out of the team, and he's going to partner, Slater will partner Brooks, who usually plays a slightly more advanced role, often as a 10, but we think he's going to drop a bit deeper. Goal scorer off the bench against Portsmouth over the weekend. And then the front 3, how's this going to look? We're going to have a guess. Joe Gelhardt often plays off the right, often plays in the 10. We think he's going to go on the right today. Liam Miller comes in. We expect to be on the left of this front 3, and that will see Liverpool loanee Lewis Kumas leading the line. None of those players are strikers. And in similar vein to what Swansea did for the second game in a row, a team has come to Portman Road and dropped their top scorer to the bench for the game against Ipswich. Did it work for Swansea? Absolutely not. Would it have made much of a difference for Swansea if they had started Sam Popnik? I don't think so. So let's see what will happen with Ollie McBurney, another player who was linked with Ipswich. That was while he was at Las Palmas in the Spanish top flight, then got relegated into the second tier. Became clear he was going to come back to England. Was linked with Ipswich going into the start of the season and ended up signing for Hull City instead, where he's bagged 13 goals off the top of my head. So that is how we see this whole team tonight. Let's take some of your comments because you've been firing them my way. So let's go. We've got plenty of these. I'm going to say good evening to everyone who said good evening. St. Louis, good evening. Stevie A, good evening. He also said, didn't expect 5 changes. Certainly Davis, Neil, and Azor dropping out. Davis was the surprise, as I said, for me. Maybe makes sense from a perspective of trying to rest him and knowing that he's had that bit of a not wanting to push him too much. He's a crucial player, and this is a busy fixture list. Don't forget, Town play again here on Saturday. Then they go to Stoke. Then they go to Sheffield Wednesday. Then there's a week off before Millwall, and before we get to that international break. And my word, after the international break, does it get busy? It really does, especially if Southampton go through in the cup and Good Friday essentially would get scrapped for Ipswich. That would be pretty difficult to balance. Neil and Azon, as I said, Neil just makes sense from a perspective of managing his minutes and his fitness, where he's lacked match minutes basically for Sunderland, having not played in the first half of the season, and Azon was knackered. Azon was shattered in a lot, I'd say, of that game against Swansea. Still got his goal, still ran his socks off. Fair play to him, but George Hurst has 2 goals in 2 games. Let's see what he can do from the start. Michael Giametti says, good evening, gents. There's only one gent here, but I'll pan over to the other one. Who's doing his work? There he is. Peace, Stuart Watson. Should we pan over to the pitch? I feel like I can do this. It's not against the FL protocol or something. There you go. There's Portman Road. Nicely filling up. Make sure my headphones don't get stuck there. Stevie A also says, as I try not to unplug my laptop from its charger, Dick Manetti played the full game last Saturday showed Kieran McKenna never planned to start tonight. That is a fair point. I do think that, and Kieran McKenna has admitted that they do this, look, you have to set out plans for players. You have to be able to say, look, I'm sorry, Jack Clark, for example, who dropped out of the team against Swansea, which was maybe a bit of a surprise in a way. Sorry, you're not going to play this one, but we are going to play you here. You might not play this game, but you are going to play this one. And they will say that to every single player in the team to make sure that there's an understanding of the expectations and the roles that they're going to have. I'm sure Jacob Reeves has had that conversation. I'm sure Jack Taylor has had that conversation. I'm sure Wes Burns has had that conversation. I'm sure George Hurst has had that conversation. And Anis won't be any different. So you could very much be right. Important night for Furlong to help Igeli be effective going forward. Definitely, and Cinder, of course, is very different to the other right-siders that Ipswich have, with the fact that he wants to stay wide and stretch play. Like McAteer wants to do that, Wes wants to do that, but Cinder comes in quite narrow, and that can leave gaps for Hull's left side to bomb forward. Liam Miller's going to be a tricky customer. I've always been pretty impressed by him. I thought he was excellent when he was a lone player at Preston North End from Basel. Weird, but yeah. So thinking about that, it's going to be a big night for Darnell Furlong, who's had pretty easy evenings, to be honest, against Watford and against Swansea. This, I think, will be a tougher test for him. And Sindra will have to do his defensive work, but will also need the licence to go forward. Callum says, good evening, Alex. I think he's somewhere behind me. Good evening, Callum. Thank you for saying hello. Chris Bullock says, up and down. Stevie says, no McBurney. And this is a really big surprise to me. This is the big drop from the squad. Sorry, not from the squad, but from the starting lineup for Hull City. Their top goal scorer, I think, is 13 goals, 6 assists. Off the top of my head, for Ollie McBurney, who is a handful. He's an excellent striker at Championship level. He's a good striker at Premier League level. But we've seen this with Sheffield United, and we're now seeing it in a whole team that likes to score goals. So I'm really surprised they've taken him out and trying to have a focal point to lead the line. I am surprised that they haven't gone with that. They've gone with a bit more pace. They've gone with 3 wingers essentially to lead the line. Let's see how it works out. Definitely, I don't think what Kieran McKenna would have expected, but it's going to be up to Dara O'Shea and Cedric Kipray and Jason Rees, of course, to deal with that. John says, I hope I'm wrong, but hate all those changes. Took players that were outstanding on Saturday. There is that, but naturally the changes are going to come going forward. That's where you're often going to make the substitutions. Those are the players who are going to run more, who have got to be at their freshest, I would say. And those are the players that naturally stood out over the weekend because it was a really good attacking display from Ipswich. So it's just how it has to be, especially when you're a team that has the strength and the depth that Ipswich do at this level. I know you're taking up players in good shape, but you can't play the same team every single week. So, yeah, it is tricky. Sam Hall says hello from behind you. Don't know where Sam is. Sam, wave in the corner at some point, and I might be able to spot you. Stevie A, another one here. Why does teams drop their top goal scorer when coming up against us, like Swansea with the Portman? Odd, isn't it? Does it work having a big focal point striker to lead the line against Ipswich? Because you can get sucked into a really difficult battle against O'Shea and against Cedric Kipray. And I know that Keeper Moore got the better of those two a little bit in that game. Also, Keeper Moore is someone who can do a remarkable amount for a big man with the ball at his feet. Can Sam Potnick do that? No. Sam Potnick can get the ball and hit the ball. Can Ollie McBurney do that? Probably a little bit more, but they're both players that just want to have the ball and hit it, I think is the main thing. Does that suit coming up against Ipswich? I'm not quite as sure, especially with Cedric Kipray, for example, who's a proper big monster centre-back. That's maybe what I'm thinking. Both of these guys have obviously scored goals for fun, but also we need their players that will come off the bench and try and deliver. Potnick came close. He hit the crossbar with a free kick deep into stoppage side. He's going to go back of the net. I'm sure Ollie McBurney will hope he has a part to play tonight. He also threw up on the pitch over the weekend. Not sure if that had an impact. I think he said on Twitter that he hadn't seen many of those like caffeine patch gel things. Catchy remix playing in the background. I agree. I really like the Portman Road playlist. This is the Escala song they play at Fulham as well, isn't it? But in general, there's a good playlist here. I'd love to. I don't know if I'd be able to do this. Ipswich Town sort me out. I'd love to create a pre-match playlist. I have a few on Spotify. Like if I'd make my own pre-match playlist, and I love them. And that's get me in charge. One game. Skyliner 6785 risky lineup, but Leicester is a harder game by far. We never play well against them. Ooh. Controversial Skyliner. I don't think it is a harder game by far because, well, the easy way of looking at it is Hull are fifth and Leicester are in the relegation zone, I believe, at the moment. I can understand that from a perspective of saying Leicester are someone that they on paper have a better squad and also are a bit of a bogey team for Ipswich, and Ipswich haven't beaten Leicester since they've been in the same leagues, which has now been 3 seasons in a row. Obviously that first championship season was pretty good, wasn't it, because everything kind of went well and it was kind of underdog Ipswich snapping draws against the mighty Leicester. It worked like that, but yeah, I think that I feel more confident of Leicester of Town taking 3 points against Leicester over the weekend than I do tonight. My prediction is 1-1, and I do think Town will beat Leicester, given where they're at and where their heads are at the real risk of relegation and the form that Leicester are in. So we'll have to wait and see. Chris Bullitt says, Zombie playing over the Townway again. Love it. I really want to know what the remix version that they play here is, because there is a bit of a remix. So we need to get the Monsters back against Leicester. Hopefully better than on Saturday. We're getting a light show. Ooh, it's got all dark. Should I show it? I'm a little bit worried if any viewers have epilepsy, so I'm not gonna turn around and show it just in case. I don't want to get anyone. Probably will show it a little bit. So if there is anyone watching with epilepsy, do just be cautious. That's all I'll say. I won't turn around and show the light show this time. fan of too many changes. Mehmeti should start. Yeah, understand that one. Mehmeti hat-trick against... to break the net. I thought it was a hat-trick. To break the net against Leicester, like that. Karen says, hello, wish I was there tonight. Wish you were there, Karen. Hopefully it'll be a good game. I'm hoping for a better game than the one we had at the MKM Stadium back in November, which is pretty dull, but ultimately Ipswich won. And even if it's a dull game, I don't mind, as long as Ipswich win tonight. Should we leave it there? Let's do a bit of team bits before we wrap up while this light show is going on. Don't forget, Ipswich have a chance to cut the gap. Wow, it's loud. To cut the gap on Borough, who won last night. Had Borough lost last night, Ipswich could have gone into the top 2 tonight and overtaken Borough with a game in hand and with still to play them here at Portman Road. That's going to be a really big game. Don't forget, around that weekend, hopefully on the same day, on the 18th of April, we'll be having KOA Live too. Come get your tickets and join us at the bar in Ipswich. Links all over our socials. Go and check that one out. Let's just do a quick team in. Here we go. 5 games in Ipswich Town. We see Reeves come in for Davis. We see Taylor come into midfield for Dan Neal. Cinderella Regelli for Wes Burns. Jack Clark for Anis Mehmeti and George Hurst for Even Azon. Hull moves to a back 5. Panda in goal. Drama and Coyle the wing backs. McNair, Egan and Hughes in at centre back. Crooks and Slater into midfield. We think will be Gelhard on the right. Liam Miller on the left. There we go. Lewis Coombs up front on loan from Liverpool. So there you have it, everyone. Thank you for getting involved. I love this comment here. Love your passion, Alex. Such a good signing yourself. Thank you, ST. Really appreciate it. Trying to bring the passion, trying to bring the intensity and the love of the game, God damn it, to Portman Road tonight. It's a big one. Come follow it all with us if you are not here at Portman Road. If you are sat here behind me or anywhere else in the stadium, enjoy the game. If not, Stu here is doing his live blog. There you go. Go and join us. Got all the post-match content to come up as usual. Follow Stu's blog. Get your KOA Live tickets. Go sign up for our subscription service, which is going £5 for 5 months. Go and check that one out. Thank you for joining me. Upper Town. We'll see you on the other side.